Hey, Sledgehammer Dude Buckaroos. How the heck are you? If I come to, I typically do a Tuesday night video because I'm usually off Wednesday, but it's between 9:30 and 10 usually. But I'm off today, so I come at you a little bit earlier. Had one of these left. I picked this up a couple months ago when my wife and I were in Kansas City. This is a Trader Joe's beer. It's a drive-through red, 7.2%, 42 IBUs, a dry hopped red ale. They don't call it a red IPA. For that, I'm grateful. But it is a nicely done hoppy red, inspired by the majestic drive-through chandelier giant sequoia tree. Our drive-through red is layered with rich multi-body and dry hopped with Tettnang hops. So noble hops, a big hoppy red. Didn't turn the music off. I turned it down because I wanted to have it in the background, but I didn't want to get flagged. So I'm hoping you can't necessarily hear it. But right now the song is my favorite. It's on our my anniversary mix for my wife and I. It's my favorite love song, George Harrison. You. The lyrics are brilliant, but simple. That's why this song is so genius. They're primarily the primary lyrics are "I love you," but there's a lot more to it. But I mean, he just slows it down. And he shows you. I mean, it's simplistic genius. The song is George Harrison, the most underrated Beatle in my particular opinion. I think he wrote some of the best songs. But he didn't write as prolific as say Lennon and McCartney did. So he didn't get the credit he deserved. But the songs he did write were just pure genius. Anyways, I digress. I did grab some whiskey to have with you as well. One that I actually got a little over a year ago when my wife and I were in Indianapolis. I picked this up at Hotel Tango when we were in that area in 24 for our 30th anniversary. So we're pushing about a year and a half now. It's been a little bit. I actually didn't open up this whiskey though. In all honesty, I didn't open it up until May of 25. But I figure I'm at that point in the bottle where I really need to finish it. This is our Hotel Tango American Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is their 10-year-old bourbon. I only bought one bourbon there. Because this one was about $100, but I did have a sample of it while I was there, and it was so good that I really wanted this bottle. But because I was spending $100 and because it was our first stop of a very long vacation, that's all I bought there. But it is a very enjoyable product. So I give myself a nice, generous pour there, and I've got probably one good pour left. As I get that close to the end, usually of any given whiskey, I try to drink it neat. Unless it's a whiskey that just begs itself to be a cocktail. But this one really is a neat drinking whiskey. All right, so let's focus on this beer for a second. Now, Tettnang's an interesting hop for a beer like this. Typically, a hoppy red isn't using a noble. And I think it's one of those reasons that makes this beer so interesting and so well done. Because rather than go for those, rather than go for an American hop or go for something where you're going to give a big citrus or pine notes, they went for Tettnang, which is going to give you more of an herbal, earthy note. And it's just gorgeous. It works with that big, bold maltiness of this red ale. It's so exquisitely well. About a 6-pack of this. Like I said, this is my very last one. And the reason I paired these two together, one that was my last one, is that I thought this is a big, bold 10-year-old bourbon, right? But I didn't want to go with a beer that was going to give me, again, those big citrus or pine-like notes. But I thought the malty sweet herbal quality of that whiskey would pair well with this particular bourbon using my Old Lives Matter glass. Uh, mm. The aromatics are nothing short of exquisite here. They're just gorgeous. Oh, fuck nuggets and gravy. That's just beautiful. But yeah, I'm getting near the end of that whiskey. I thought, well, let's have one really nice pour, right? Against a 10-year-old bourbon. What do they tell me here? Aromas of cherry, vanilla, and burnt sugar, which is all the notes that they give me. And I'm going to agree with everything. I'm just going to put a slightly finer point on it all. Cherry, vanilla, and burnt sugar. Burnt sugar, they mentioned vanilla. The burnt sugar, it's going to come off like a creme brulee-like note. Cherry, yeah, I feel it more as a big, dark Amarena cherry. Not that sweet-ass maraschino. That is a nice, dark bourbon cherry. But there's other things going on here, too. One's at 128.4, but even at that proof, it is just so amazingly approachable. Again, some might not want to drink a whiskey of that proof neat. They'll claim it's hot, and it is not. Here's my issue with words like hot or boozy. Is the implication is that there's a flaw, right? It's hot, it's boozy. For me, those words, if you're using those words, it implies that the alcohol is taking over, and it doesn't here. Yes, it's big. You're going to taste some alcohol. It's 128. You're going to taste some, okay? But I'm never going to use the words hot or boozy to describe this whiskey because those notes, those whatever they are, don't take over what this whiskey has to offer. You're always getting those flavors and aromas that I mentioned over what some may perceive as hot. So you mentioned cherry, but I'm also going to say some stone fruit. I feel like you're picking up, of course, cherry. You could cherry stone fruit, but you're also picking up some. You may pick up some overripe apricot or plum in there as well. And burnt sugar for me, I also pick up some deep, dark brown sugar notes because I feel a hint of molasses in there as well, working all the way through. There's just a lot of vanilla that kind of changes as you work through this. Again, I mentioned creme brulee earlier. The oak, the barrel notes, yes. So again, a lot of oak, but you're going to get those nice barrel notes in the finish. They kind of blend with everything. Kind of a mix of baking spice, but typically cinnamon runs up out front. But in this one here, I get more of allspice note than cinnamon, and they're close, but there is differences if you know that. You might find some clove in there as well, some ginger, nutmeg. It's really between you and how you feel spice notes. Bottom line, this is an absolutely gorgeous whiskey. Even at $100 per bottle, it is absolutely worth it. If I had the money at the time, I would have bought two of them and just sat on one for an undetermined period of time. Uh, But like I said, it was our first. It was our first stay over of a very long vacation, so I didn't want to blow everything in the first day. So, but I mean the whiskey when I did this sampling that was so good. That was the bottle that I had to have. Old lives matter. Yeah, they do, don't they? But here's the thing. I don't know. I hate to say something as trite as all lives matter, but thing is, we need to focus on the lives that are in most danger at any given time. So when someone says Black Lives Matter, they're not saying Black lives mean more. What they're saying is at this moment in time, this is what we need to worry about. If you have a child, you're more focused on them than yourself at that moment in time. And that's what we need to do is put our focus on what needs the most attention. We're not saying that means more. We're saying at this moment, this is what we need to focus our attention on. Anyways, I digress. I digress, man. I think we get too hung up on semantics sometimes. But will all lives matter, Tom? All lives. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. It's going to call some names, but I decided to walk it back. Of course they do. But not all lives are in imminent danger. And that's the part that some just don't seem to get. We need to focus on those lives that are in imminent danger at this moment in time. Anyways, I digress. But I digress. Oh, yeah. Oh, mercy. This was kind of given to me, kind of tongue in cheek as I turned 60. Well, now last year, but I turned 60. But it does seem to happen that way. Sometimes opinions seem to mean less as you get older. You seem to become a casualty at a certain age. It's probably clear that I am in my last act at this point in time. But I think everybody means something until their last breath, and we shouldn't take anybody any more serious or any less serious. So, anyways, and I'm typically a guy that focuses more on humor than other things. But this is a very serious time for us in our when our country moves forward. Are we don't? It seems to be we're at that point in time where we decide who we want to be, what our soul is, and I'm worried. I think a lot of folks are that we're going in the wrong direction. Oh, mercy. This is just a beautiful whiskey. I had a great time at their distillery. I'll be honest with you. Well, not the distillery, actually, their tasting room. The tasting room in Indianapolis. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't going to go. And I only went because the first brewery that I hit, uh, they were directly across the street because I was going to bypass them for a couple reasons, but and I won't get into that now because it doesn't matter anymore because I visited them. But yeah, I only decided to go because they were direct. I mean, I would have had to walk past them to get to the other place I was going to, and that didn't make sense. So I went in and skeptically I looked at the menu and I ordered a flight, and the person behind the bar was just so amazing. They were very knowledgeable of the product and they were extremely friendly. So they explained everything to me. I got my products, and quite frankly, everything was just so good. The hard part for me, in all honesty, was just buying the one bottle because, again, it was the most expensive one there. And again, this was my first. Well, this was our first. Our first night on vacation, but this was only my second stop of the day with others planned, and I didn't want to go broke right at that moment. Anyway, Hotel Tango whiskey is just brilliant. If you get a chance, pick it up. There are certain products that are available in my neck of the woods. This one not being one of them, unfortunately, which is another reason I bought it. Because even though I knew of some of their products, I hadn't had any of them before. A lot of them felt novelty to me. One's kind of a marshmallow whiskey. I'm not a novelty whiskey guy, but when I had this, I knew they were the real deal. All right, let's finish this beer up. Oh, biscuits and gravy. Okay. Well, I had a minor surgery about a week ago for carpal tunnel and cubital release and trigger finger, and so I get the stitches out tomorrow. So this has been my vacation this year, recovering from surgery. So I'm off tomorrow, and I got returned to work on Thursday. So this is my last vacation day with a vacation day. So as I lament the end of my vacation, I'm glad to have these stitches out tomorrow. So there you go. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guys. Sláinte, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it.